If you are attempting to get better at catching bass offshore and you feel like you're stuck, you've done the research on the lakes, you've done the idling, and you've done the fishing, and you can't just put the pieces of the puzzle together, well, today in this video, we're gonna go over tactics that the pros are using that will help you catch more bass offshore and get you pointed in the right direction. Stay tuned, you're not gonna wanna miss this. Y'all, one of the first things to do when trying to catch bass offshore and get comfortable with it is go find the obvious areas. One of Johnny's techniques when he actually goes and tries to catch fish offshore, he'll go check out your obvious areas first before he tries to find the sneaky ones. So those obvious areas, what can they be? Y'all, they can be points, they can be humps, they can be offshore structures as road beds. So the obvious areas is the first thing you need to look at. So as I got to the lake this morning, there was two areas that were very obvious areas that you could potentially catch a bass offshore or up shallow. So this morning it was low light conditions, it was foggy. I didn't want to go run around the lake. So I went ahead, as soon as I put the boat in the water, I started idling. And I idled for about an hour and a half this morning. Now during my idle, I went over these two main lake points, okay? And now looking at the points, y'all, there's rock on them. One of them right away, I noticed a little rock transition that caught my eye. But as I idled around these points and I tried to keep away where I was at least, anyway from 100 yards off the bank, I saw that the rock actually came out off this point. Now I marked it with my electronics, and with that I didn't really think I was going to come back and catch a fish right there off the edge of the rocks. I personally thought I was going to be able to go up shallow and catch them on a buzzbait or a spinnerbait this morning. So then after I idled this section of the lake, I then came back and started fishing. Right away, y'all, I got up on the bank, I'm throwing my buzzbait and my spinnerbait, and I didn't get any bites pretty quick. Then as I got to this point, I knew that rock was actually already out there. So when I got up there on the point, I didn't catch anything on the buzzbait. I threw my spinnerbait out there where I remember that rock was. I did let my spinnerbait sink, okay, because like I said, the rock was out there in about, 7 to 8 feet. And then right away, after about a crank, I got bit, and then I brought in a 2-pound bass. So that right there, y'all, was a key to me that, hey, there are some fish out there. So I threw the spinnerbait a couple more times, and then I decided to move out off this spot, and the wind was kind of blowing in a little bit, so I really didn't want to get pushed up on it. So that was one reason why today on my boat positioning I was throwing against the wind, because I don't have an Ultrex. As you see, it's right here behind me. I got a 4Trex. So on some of these offshore pieces of cover, definitely the shallower ones, you don't want to go and get up on the cover. So after I got my boat position, I decided to go with the slower presentation, since I did throw the spinnerbait at it, which was more of a moving presentation. So I picked up a Carolina rig. And then as I threw that Carolina rig out there, y'all, I got bit right away. Now what we have is just a main lake point. Okay, now there's not much special about it. There's a creek channel that bends up to it, and we do have that little rock transition and that rock that comes out. Now with this though, this is one of those offshore areas that you can probably pull up to at different times of the day and get bites. And when you do go out and watch the professionals, they don't just really nowadays stay on one area and catch fish offshore. Now, there was a time, back 10, 15 years ago, and, there's some times here and there that they will stay on one spot. But, y'all, this is one of those areas that when you find, you can go up and make your 3 to 5 casts to and then leave. And then after this now, even today in my fishing trip, I went looking for areas like this, and I did succeed and found a couple and caught some more fish. I didn't catch any giants today. I caught a bunch of 2-pounders. So if you're still watching this video and you're thinking, how is this going to help me catch more bass offshore? Okay, guys, this is how. When you watch the professionals or your local anglers that are just really, really good at your lake and really good at catching fish offshore, it's not that they just go to one spot and catch them all, okay? Y'all, your professionals will come see a spot like this, and if they catch a fish on it, they're going to go try to find 20 or 30 more like it, and then they will run these spots. So where you start off is looking first at your obvious areas on the lake to catch offshore. Your points, your humps, just like we talked earlier. Go look for the obvious ones. And then go find your pieces of cover on it. It could be a brush pile, it could be rock pile, it could be grass. Go find your cover that's on this area. So when you're going and fishing this point, you're not fishing the whole point. You're fishing a exact location on the point. So you go make your 5 to 10 casts, and then you go try to find another spot. And then if you do catch fish, then great, you do. But I know a lot of people have kind of gotten in this thing of just staying on areas and just staying, you know, on one brush pile or one rock, which, hey, there is a time for that. That's a whole nother deal. I know, but if you personally are trying to get better at catching fish offshore, you don't just need to go find one brush pile or one rock pile. You got to go find more. Your anglers that are so good at this, man, they will go and find multiple structures on these areas as your points, your humps, your flats. Like I said, this right here was just, for me, a voila in my day, and then I went out on the lake and found a couple other areas similar to it, and I put the pattern together. I'd like to welcome you to the Bass Fishing Declassified channel, brought to you by Fish the Moment. Johnny from Fish the Moment had an idea of creating a new channel that could have multiple anglers give advice, their expertise, and tips on how to catch fish throughout the country. If you have not, please subscribe to the Bass Fishing Declassified channel, as our goal is to put out 2 videos or more a week that will have multiple anglers give their expertise and advice to help you catch more fish. Thank you for watching. Now let's get back to the video. So I did catch the majority of my fish on a Carolina rig today, and I'm just going to talk about my gear, my setup that I used for the Carolina rig. Okay, I'm using a Denali Lithium Pro 7.6 extra heavy flipping rod. You know, like I said, I do not have just a specific Carolina rig rod. I do have 2 worm and jig rods that had other lures on. So if there's a day I know I'm not flipping, I just use this rod right here, because I know there's some of y'all watching, you don't have a rod for every setup either. So I'm still, you know, I have 10 rods that I use, and this is just the day that I use for my Carolina rig. My main line, I'm using 20-pound Sunline FC Sniper fluorocarbon. I like the heavier line because I know you will throw this and get it hung up in rocks, and then so when you get it hung up, I can then try to get it out of the rocks, so I do not have to break my main line. I am using a pre-made Carolina rig leader. This is the 6-inch version. I like the pre-made Carolina rig setups. I don't got to go out and get the beads and the weights and do all that extra time. This kind of just helps me save some time. This is a 1/2-ounce version right here. It's not the tungsten, it's just the normal. Hey y'all, so for my leader line, I'm just using Sunline monofilament. This is 14-pound. I'm fishing a lake that's stained, so I'm going to use a heavier line. I'll even use 16-pound at times, so I'm going down and fishing Lake Fork or some of them lakes that have some bigs in it. Y'all, hey, for my lure today, I did try a fluke and didn't get any bites on it for some reason. I mean, there's bait everywhere, and like I said, I know the fluke's a good lure down here in East Texas, but hey, today is a Z-Craw Junior. It's just Z-Craw Junior. It's in the California 420 color. I did dye the tails. Okay, I'm throwing this on a 3/0 hook, and like I said, so that was just the lure today that caught me some fish. So hey, also I just want to say thank y'all for watching the video. Hey, please like and subscribe if you have not. Comments, leave them down below. Any questions, man, we're going to try to answer them. And like I said, if there's any ideas you would like us to make a video about, please feel free to comment. Thanks for watching, y'all. Hey, and we'll see you next time.